had a client back, this was about 5 years ago, called me and he's like, Zach, and this is at 3 a.m. He goes, Zach, I really don't want to live right now. And I was like, why don't you talk to your wife that's in bed next to you? And he's like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. But I mean, we really do become like family. And that's why, like, at least my clients and me, we hang out, we go out. It's not just business. And the thing is, once you know somebody inside and out, you trust that person. And it's trust both ways, because you don't want a yes person either. You don't want somebody that's going to say, yeah, go talk here. Yeah, go do this, go endorse that, because that's not going to help you. You want somebody that's going to fight you on stuff and you'll be like, hey, should I go make that appearance there? And they're going to be like, that's not really a good look for you. Don't do it.
Right.
And a lot of celebrities, especially in the celebrity world, as they get bigger and bigger, they have a lot of yes people around them, because those yes people are managers and agents that are working off the 10%, so they don't care. Whereas, a publicist is kind of like, hey, we're getting paid to put you in the right direction. And so I think, not having a lot of yes people is very important to people. Like, you want people that are like your friends that are going to tell you when you're being a bitch or not. You want somebody that's going to call you out.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So I don't want everybody to think that most of what you do is crisis management. It's only a portion, and you don't need to have a crisis to have a PR person. But I do want to cover a little bit more on this scandal crisis type of subject. I want to discuss the anatomy of a scandal, because I think it's really interesting to a lot of people and it's important. And by the way, that's what feeds a lot of media cycles, right? So, like, let's talk about Will Smith for 1 second. If you could get your hands on that, if you were repping him at that time, what would you have done, thought? Are you like making a phone call immediately after, getting everyone at the war table, or like going on a press tour? Because he decided to be silent, right? What would you do?
Honestly, the first time, like anytime I see any story, just to step back for a second, anytime I see any story out in the news these days, as a publicist, my first thing is like, is it real? Is it fake? I don't even know what reality is anymore. So when I saw the Will Smith thing at the Oscars, I was just like, that's got to be planned. This is probably a sketch that just went wrong, or he went over the top or something, because there's no way, when you have that much money and all this stuff, that you're just going out there to smack somebody. And so I still, to this day, think it was a sketch that went wrong. I don't think it was just out of the blue he went on stage and lost his shit. I think, there's a lot of moving parts there. But going to what you just asked, Will Smith, I think, he did the right thing. That's what I would have told him to do too. I would have said, stay silent, let this, the heat kind of lower down, and then kill him with comedy, which is what he's doing now. And you see what Jada's doing now. She can blast him as much as she wants. She can do all this. But what he's doing is what he does best. What do we know? Will Smith, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, comedy, right?
Right.
And so as long as he can go to...
People innately like him.
Right.
I mean, they're going to continue to like him.
Don't give them a reason to not like you. So if him speaking out about stuff is going to you're not going to please everybody. And he knew that. And his team knew that. So stay silent. And then when the time comes and it lowers down, then speak out. And you saw, as it went forward, more stories came out about Chris Rock, and came out all these other stories about, okay, he was bashing Jada before and all this other stuff. And it turned into this whole story where Will doesn't even have to comment. He's got, all these people that are supporting him. Then he comes out with some comedy and you love him again. And now he's got movies and everything again.
Right. It almost seems like the only time people are on the path of not liking something in his life is when it's related to Jada. I think that she's caused a lot of issues with being either too open or kind of humiliating him a little bit here and there. And you would think they have a PR person that works with the two of them. Clearly doesn't seem like they do.
Or the thing is, Jada's PR person is like, hey, let's just tell the world everything. Because I mean, I know way too much about Jada right now than I care to know. And why? Because it's in my face. And, whether it's promoting her Red Talks table or whatever else she's doing. I mean, that Oscar thing really, the first time Will went on that show, on her show, their viewership went way up. I'm sure their sponsorship went way up. So, I mean, there was money still to be made on the back end. And her talking, I mean, we're talking about it, right? So she's doing something right. And if that's her strategy and that's her PR's team strategy, great. Now, Is it long lasting? Who knows? Will people be more annoyed at her and then Will comes in and now all of a sudden Will's the good family comedian guy? Maybe she's just doing it so that she takes the hate and he gets all the like because she knows his projects are going to bring in more money and everything for their household and everything else than she would. Who knows?
Very, very interesting. Okay, let's talk about Britney Spears. So I was just on her. I just was on her Instagram yesterday or this morning, just to see what the hell she's doing. And she's what I'm always interested in is how she remains so sexual. I mean, why is she flailing around in these, in hardly anything? And now she has her, I think it's her publicist behind her, that guy Cade, dancing with her. And what would you do? I mean, what's your suggestion to Britney Spears?
I mean, she should have got a knife endorsement before she did the knife thing. That would have been great. So somebody really missed the mark there. But if I was in Britney's shoes and I was her PR team, honestly, stick to the music right now. I mean, the book just sold. The book went wild. Everybody likes it. She's in everybody's good graces now. People understand. Obviously she has some mental health issues. There's something there. But I think she should really just go back to the music. I would start, recording more, doing some more stuff like she did with Elton John before, and getting people's, viewpoints on the music and away from this craziness that she's kind of turned herself into. From
maybe she's really not capable of that.
And that's the thing is maybe when she was on her medication, when she was under all that, maybe that was better for her, and maybe that was more controlling of her symptoms. I don't know what she has and everything, but obviously this is like this could either end two ways. One is she's going to go totally wild and it's going to end in another celebrity death, or it's going to, she's just doing this to get a lot of attention because now she's like breaking free and she comes out with a new album and all her fans love it and she's a wild person. I mean, hey, look, Miley Cyrus went wild for one of her albums and it helped her, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And people love her.
From a wrecking ball.
Yes, right. And people love her.